He woke up shaking, sweat drenching him like a blanket, and he couldn't stop. Not because he forgot the dream, because he remembered it. The flashes of light that wouldn't leave when he opened his eyes, the sound still ringing, the smell of ash and fire that had no source in the room, the sense of having been somewhere, multiple places at once, that his mind had no language for. He called for every wise man in Babylon, every astrologer, every magician, every interpreter of dreams, not just to tell him what the dream meant, to tell him what the dream was, because he needed someone, anyone, to prove to him that what had passed through him in the night was real, that he had not lost his mind. Nobody could. Nobody except one man who prayed 3 times a day toward a city he would never see again. It's defiantly not a dream, a transmission. I want you to think about what happened to Nebuchadnezzar that night differently than you may have been taught. This was not a symbolic vision that floated through his sleep like a metaphor. This was a transmission from outside of time. Think about what we know today that Nebuchadnezzar had no framework for. Interstellar communication, parallel dimensions, the idea that consciousness can exist outside the physical body. That time is not linear from God's perspective. We spend billions of dollars and employ thousands of scientists asking one question: is there intelligence outside our world trying to reach us? And the answer has been sitting in Daniel chapter 2 for 2,500 years. Yes, and he already sent the message. Not through a radio frequency, not through a government program, not through a crop circle, through a dream that smelled like ash and sounded like the collapse of civilizations. Delivered to the most powerful man on earth in a single night. Nebuchadnezzar did not just see a statue in a dream. He was taken, somehow, in some dimension we do not have words for, outside the earth, looking down, watching history unfold below him like a map. Kingdoms rising, kingdoms falling, fire and wind, and the sound of orders given in languages that did not exist yet. And then the rock, and he came back to his body in his bed in Babylon, and he lay there shaking. For how long we do not know. But in Daniel chapter 2 verse 1, it says his mind was troubled and his sleep left him. His sleep left him. That is not a man who had a confusing dream. That is a man who encountered the living God and barely came back from it. You may already know this story, but today I want to share something more. Let's jump right into it. Daniel chapter 2 verses 31 through 35. The statue, a single image of terrifying size and brightness, head of gold, chest and arms of silver, belly and thighs of bronze, legs of iron, feet, partly iron, partly clay, and then a rock, cut from a mountain, not by any human hand. It struck the statue on its feet, and the whole thing, gold, silver, bronze, iron, clay, was crushed together, ground to powder, scattered like chaff, until there was nothing left, and the rock became a mountain that filled the whole earth. That is what the king saw from outside the earth looking down. Now here is what stops me every time I read this. Daniel did not guess what these metals represented. He did not offer interpretations. He did not hedge his answer. He told the king exactly what God had shown him, precisely, without softening it, without protecting himself. And everything, every single kingdom, every single transition of power happened exactly as it was written. Not approximately, not mostly, exactly. In Daniel chapter 2 verse 38, Daniel says to the king, "You are that head of gold, Babylon, the greatest empire the ancient world had ever seen. The hanging gardens, the walls so wide that chariots could race on top of them, the ziggurat reaching toward heaven, gold everywhere." Nebuchadnezzar was not just a powerful king. He was the closest thing to a god that the ancient world had produced. And God looked at all of it, the gold, the power, the fire, the armies, and said, "You are temporary. After you, another kingdom, not as glorious, silver, not gold, but it will rise." And it did. Medo-Persia, exactly as written. Babylon fell to Cyrus the Great in 539 BC, not with a battle, with a diverted river and soldiers walking through a dry riverbed under the walls while the city celebrated. The most powerful city on earth fell in a single night, exactly as written. So, After Medo-Persia, Greece, the Bronze Kingdom. Alexander the Great moved so fast across the known world that historians still cannot fully explain it. He was dead at 32. His empire split between 4 of his generals, exactly as written. After Greece, Rome, the Iron Kingdom, the legs, strong as iron, crushing everything beneath it. Rome did not just conquer nations. It absorbed them, reorganized them, and made them Roman. The legs of iron in the statue, 2 legs, Eastern Rome and Western Rome. The empire split exactly down the middle, exactly as written. This is what Nebuchadnezzar saw from outside the earth. This is what Daniel told him while the flashes of light were still burning behind the king's eyes. And here is the thing that should stop every person watching this tonight. Daniel told Nebuchadnezzar all of this while Babylon was still standing, while Medo-Persia did not exist yet, while Greece was a collection of small city-states, while Rome was a village on 7 hills. God showed the end from the beginning, and he was right about every single kingdom, which means he is right about what comes next. Let me say this. Rome never fell the way Babylon fell. It did not get conquered by one empire that replaced it. It fractured, it broke into pieces. The nations of Europe, France, Germany, England, Spain, Portugal, these are the broken pieces of Rome. Iron mixed with clay, strong in places, weak in others. And in Daniel chapter 2, verse 43, it says, "They will not hold together, just as iron does not mix with clay." How many times in history has someone tried to unite Europe under one power? Napoleon, failed. Hitler, failed. Every attempt to put the statue back together, failed. Because it is written that it will not hold. We are living in the feet of the statue right now. The iron and clay, the fractured world, the nations that cannot unite no matter how many treaties they sign, the systems that are strong in places and crumbling in others. And if the head, the chest, the belly, and the legs all happened exactly as written, then what comes next is not a guess. Take a look. In Daniel chapter 2, verse 44, it says, "And in the time of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed, not built by a human hand, not established by a military, not voted in by a government, not organized by a denomination, cut from the mountain by God himself. And it strikes the statue on the feet, on the iron and clay, on the place where we are standing right now. And everything, every system, every empire, every kingdom that mankind has ever built is ground to powder, and the rock fills the earth." That is not a metaphor for church growth. That is not a program or a revival campaign. That is the second coming of Jesus Christ, written in the dream of a pagan king 2,500 years ago. When the kingdom of God arrives, it does not negotiate, it does not compromise, it does not run for office. It fills the earth. Now think about this, what this means for you tonight. Here is the question I want to leave you with. You are living in the feet of the statue. You know that now. The iron and clay, the fractured world, the systems that cannot hold together, and the rock is coming. Not maybe, not probably, it is written. The same God who was precise about Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome, he is precise about this too. So here is the only question that matters tonight. When the rock arrives, where are you standing? Are you part of the statue, built from the systems of this world, trying to hold the iron and clay together? Or are you part of the kingdom that cannot be destroyed? That choice does not happen on the day the rock arrives. It happens now, in the quiet, in the ordinary, in the Friday nights when nobody is watching. Daniel made his choice in Babylon long before the lions. The same choice is in front of you tonight. Next week, we are going to look at 3 men who stood in front of the most powerful king on earth and said, "We will not bow." And what happened in that fire is something the church has almost completely misunderstood. If this spoke to you, share it with one person tonight. Not for the channel, because someone you know is standing in the iron and clay right now, and they need to know the rock is coming. What is written, what is coming, what you need to choose. See you Friday.